probably won't see the ones, but you'll get to see some of this offense that looks like it's going to be one of the best in the league. A lot of people, both locally and at the national level, have high expectations for the Texans offense. Here's Dalton Schultz talking about why he thinks this offense could be even more explosive than it was last year.
Big, dude. Like whenever you have like vertical threats, like teams drop deeper. Linebackers, now their hook drops are 12 yards instead of 8. Like it affects everything. Even when they feel that like vertical push, the guys are trying to stay on top. And when you got 2 burners, when you add Nico to that mix, like so 3 guys can stretch the field, man. So it opens up stuff underneath sometimes in certain coverages. And honestly, like it creates space for us in the backs. And like I love having it because it's playing our defense is like hard in practice because like they're in your hip all the time, whether they're zone or man. It's like it's frustrating. And then you get to some games and it's like teams are just spot drop and you feel that space. You know what I mean? And so it's very beneficial for sure.
Damn, all right, why was that? Why did that get you so football horny?
Well, because it's real. I mean, it's spot on. It's from a player that's inside the locker room that knows the playbook like the back of his hand and is a very, very good pass catching tight end. First of all, so the source I think makes it real. It just confirms a lot of what we talked about yesterday. To be honest with you, defenses won't be able to suffocate this offense the way that they did at times last year. You can think back to the Atlanta game. And how they treated this offense and ended up winning that ball game. But nonetheless, so the source I think is huge. It confirms some of the conversations that we've had over the last couple of days. I think if we've talked a lot about Diggs, we've talked a lot about Laramie Tunsil, we talk a lot about C.J. Stroud, we talk a lot about Joe Mixon, add all these pieces that they're adding, and it really doesn't mean a damn thing. You look at the team as a whole, the offense as a whole. And what happens because you added those players, in particular we're talking about Diggs and the emergence of Tank Dell and Nico Collins, what happens? What does it mean? We know they can play, but, what does it mean? We can sit here and talk about, well, defenses don't have the ability to suffocate the Texans the way that they did last year. What does that mean? Dalton Schultz just told you, right? Not only did Dalton Schultz just tell you that the threat of those 3 guys and how explosive they are is going to force not only safeties back, defensive coordinators to plan and keep safeties back, but your middle of the road to bad teams in this league are literally going to do what he said and spot drop at 12 yards instead of 8 and just give Dalton Schultz those underneath catches. That's the other reason is because we as fans can watch the games and we can see exactly what Dalton Schultz is talking about. From the Hall of Fame game against the Bears all the way up to this last preseason game against the Giants, the tight ends have absolutely ate with that first unit.
Yeah, him and Brevin.
Tegan Quatoriano. Remember Tegan and Cade Stover?
Yep.
Cade Stover. All those guys were just like and these are preseason games, so like I said, the Hall of Fame game was very vanilla, but the point is very, very valid. And I just think when it's coming from inside the walls, from a player that's actually executing it all, I think it's big, man. It's really big. That is what all the conversations about the added weapons and yada, 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 all the year 2 in Bobby Slowick's offense, what does it mean, what does it matter, is exactly what he just said. There is so much space underneath for the tight ends. You're either going to take a ton of risk and put DBs on an island with either Nico, Tank, or Diggs, or you're going to play soft as hell and just give them just play catch underneath with your tight ends, your running backs, and your underneath receivers. Yeah. And so it's just the real of it and the source of it, Ron, is big.
Well, as we know, and I think the league knows that CJ also, he's big play. Like he'll take what he needs to take, but he is also not afraid of going for the big play. And with that threat of the guys on the outside and his willingness to go downfield and try to get the big play, opens up all of that space in the middle of the field. And it is because teams are going to go into this saying, all right, we're just not going to let you get big plays on us. Like we're not going to get you where you're going to kill us. You're going to have to methodically work yourself down the field. We're not going to just give up big plays. And I think CJ is a key to that. One, he will damn sure threaten the ball down the field. But two, CJ ain't forcing it. At least that's what we've seen in his first year. He will certainly take all of that stuff. And Dalton Schultz can eat, but in particular with Brevin Jordan, he's one move from being out the gates.
Yes.
And that, like, yeah, he's getting some cushion. We saw it last year. I mean, he's I'm not saying he's going to go for 70, but he is a big play away waiting to happen with all of that extra space that he has. So
you think about Joe Mixon, too, is really good in the pass game. I mean,
yep.
We've seen Cam Akers be effective in the pass game. Brevin Jordan, you mentioned. Dalton Schultz, you mentioned. I mean, Cade Stover's been really, really good. So, I mean, it's just one of those deals, man, where when you look at it, it's just so simple, but that's the beauty of football, man. If you get guys that are that explosive and you got a quarterback that'll just be patient and commit to taking that, what he calls boring stuff, man, it can be powerful. Now, there's another conversation to be had. I know right now is not the time. There's another conversation to be had off of Dalton Schultz comments. If it opens it up that much for the underneath tight ends and running backs,
feels like this is a conversation we've been kind of having
about that run game, right? I mean, it's proof and it's like real substance to say, well, this offensive line that you've invested so much money in should benefit from that same thing that the tight ends and the underneath routes do. So, that needs to be had as well.